Hello and welcome to the Comedian's Paradise. Now, today's guest is a man of many different mixes. He's part Chinese, he's part Indian, he's part Somalian, and part Kenyan. His name is Adan Abdi. I don't know if but he's a brilliant Kenyan comedian, storming the scene, and he's going to visit the UK in a few weeks. You guys are going to love him. Welcome, Adan Abdi. Did I say
Thank
it
you
the
so
white?
much.
Did I say it the white people way?
Yeah, kinda. You did so good for a white person. I'm so proud of you, Marvin. Shout out.
do I look white or do I look Asian or do I look Latino? Because some people say that I look white, and then some people say I look Asian, and then some people say I look Latino.
Oh, you look white, bro. You are white.
Oh,
White. Not even white. White.
oh, thank you, man. I mean, I'm half Asian, so that's interesting.
Really?
Yes, I'll take the glasses off.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know, man.
But your mix as well. You're not the mix as I said, but you're a mix of Somalian and your Somali descent Kenyan comedian, right?
Yeah, yes. So I am a third generation Kenyan Somali. Right. So
Okay.
my folks, my great grandparents, came here from Somalia, came to Kenya from Somalia. My parents are Kenyans. But
Okay.
yeah, so a Kenyan of Somali descent.
Okay. And what's I don't know anything about Somalia at all. The only thing I know is that there's Maya Jama, who's half Somali and half Swedish. I know
Mm.
Chunks, the YouTuber, and that's about it. I don't know anything about Somalia.
Well, what do you mean?
Well, I
I
don't
feel
want to
like,
mention the other stuff because it's a bit dodgy. If I say that all I know is about pirates and stuff, that's
yeah,
just
dude, there we go. I feel like Somalia has contributed a lot to pop culture, bro. With Captain Phillips, arguably one of the best films out there, bro. What do you mean? Look
I'm
at
not.
me. I'm the captain now. I'm the
Oh shit!
Yeah. Somalis are known for that. Somalia is also known for Black Hawk Down.
I've not seen that. I'm afraid so.
Really?
I'm sorry, man.
America tried to invade Somalia in '94, I think, and
Oh,
Somalis resisted that. So Black Hawk Down, America had to close shop in Mogadishu and go back home. Apart from that, Somalis are really wonderful people, really. Super passionate people, super intense people, but beautiful people. Yeah, they've had a bit of problems with their democracy and governance, but yeah, we wish them all the best, bro.
of course. I I know that. What did I want to say about it? Yeah, that there is. Yeah, and I also know about a smoking dish or something, or some sort of. I watched it on a program that's quite popular
Mm.
in Somalia. There's a special
Mhm.
weed that you guys have for smoking.
Special word,
There's some sort
special
of drug
weed.
or yeah, some sort of drug that you guys smoke. I can't remember that's been brought over here. Ah, never mind.
I
I'm
don't
a
know.
dodgy man. Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, what's new? America always loses in wars.
Yeah, for sure. That's true. That's true. That's true. Like I used to do this bit. I used to do this bit where I go, America's foreign policy is a lot like contracting an STI, right? It's always nice when you're getting it, but it always ends with a lot of shots fired and a lot of pain involved. It's like,
It's funny, isn't it? In a way that always happens with them.
yeah. Always pulling out, pulling out. That's how you know they're not black. Yes. They're
Ah,
pulling out of wars and out of countries. Now they're pulling out of what, Afghanistan? They're pulling out of it's mad, bro.
Now, I know nothing about your Somali descent and your comedian Kenya. So what was it
Mm.
like growing up like Somali descent in Kenya, and how did it shape your comedy? Because I did hear that in South Africa there's a bit of to Zimbabwe's or some other races that are coming in. There's a bit of prejudice to the people coming in. Is there like that in Kenya as well, where it's divided? Because I know that there was a big war between the Mungiki tribe or something and the
Yeah.
government, and then for a Ross Kemp documentary. That's all I know.
Yeah. Um, yes, that's true. I toured South Africa for comedy last year, and I got the same vibe because I got to talk to a few Somalis I met there. So in South Africa, Somalis and Zimbabweans are mostly they do the the Uber driver type of jobs. And my Uber driver from Cape Town International Airport to my hotel with a Zimbabwean guy, and he was telling me a lot of he was citing a lot of xenophobia, right? Also got to interact with a lot of Somalis who own convenience stores in Cape Town, and they're like they have to pay protection money from the local gangs because they are foreigners, right?
Okay.
Um, in Kenya's a bit chill, if I'm being honest, because the way dude, I was born in Kenya. I've been socialized, to have the same shared experiences as any other Kenyan, right? From say the Kikuyu tribe. Um, so so yeah, personally, I haven't experienced the you know what, you're not true Kenyan, you're this, you're half Somali, you're not, But until quite recently, when there was a lot of anti-Somali rhetoric on social media. Hence my last theater show, my last hour is called Go Back to Somalia, right? So the way that has sort of shaped my comedy is I get to give people an inside perspective of how it is essentially to be Somali and Kenyan and how I navigate life. So I give them the Kenyan Somali perspective, which is new, right? So I give other Somalis from Somalia who are living in Kenya currently the my perspective of being also Kenyan, right? So like, oh, so this is what a Somali, because my experience is quite unique, right? My experience is not only Somali but also Kenyan, right? So my friends are mostly Kenyan, right? Like non-Somali Kenyans, but at home, right? So whatever foods we eat at home is Somali. My mom speaks fluent Somali, barely speaks a word of Swahili,
Okay.
and a bit of broken English. I speak fluent Swahili, barely a word of Somali, and English. It's a weird sort of
Oh,
dichotomy
okay.
of the two. Yeah. So even so we as a Kenyan of Somali descent, we don't have a lot of representation in show business in Kenya.
Okay.
So the way that has shaped my comedy is, every time I go on stage, because people can tell this guy is Somali because of my facial features. So they go. So I have to address it because I don't want that hanging over, my set. I want to address the elephant in the room. So I do just a quick gag about me being Somali. Like I have this icebreaker I use because Somalis in Kenya are mostly traders. We own convenience shops again, right? So I go, hey, my name is Adan. I'm Somali. I know I look familiar. You guys are looking at me thinking, I am pretty sure this guy sold me an iPhone at least once in his life, and that's probably true. So just to get it out of the way, and I can proceed with my set now because you have to address it because like for stand-ups, we've got to address whatever elephant is in the room. How do people perceive you? How do you come off as to the people? so that they can give you the leeway to go into the rest of your material, right? So I guess there's that. Also, sometimes I feel the need to, I don't want to say pander to the Kenyan market, the non-Somali Kenyan market, because the people, because about 65% of my supporters are Somali, are Kenyans of Somali descent, right? So of course that's gonna change how you write, right? Because they want to feel included in your set. They want to feel seen. So it's very interesting because like, so when I do comedy clubs, when I do small rooms, right, I'm mostly performing to a non-Somali Kenyan audience. So it's very intricate. So I know how to curate my set to fit that market, and I know what to curate so that there's something for everybody, right?
Okay.
So that, yeah.
Yeah. You communicate your jokes so that you represent your own people that are Somali Kenyans, but also for people that aren't from that background can understand the jokes as well.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Because Kenya is a cosmopolitan country. Nairobi is a cosmopolitan city. We have a lot of white folk, a lot of people of color. So, and these people come to these spaces, these creative spaces.
Oh,
So it's just a matter of, it then becomes a matter of how can I tell my story in a way that everybody gets it, right? In a way that I don't sort of alienate any particular demographic.
okay. So i- Kenya's quite. Well, it's very. Is it like London where you got everything, all sorts of mixes? It's filled with everything. Like it's got a Chinatown. It's got Italian. It's got.
Yeah, I think Kenya and South Africa are one of the most cosmopolitan cities in Africa. Kenya,
Oh,
South Africa, and Nigeria, right? So in Kenya we have a Chinatown, but then again we have Chinatown everywhere. We
yes, yes. I think that's true.
so we have Chinatown everywhere. We have a Chinatown. Um, we have a lot of white folk, a lot of white folk, a very big Indian community as well, a lot of very big Indian community. So yeah, there's that. So when you come to comedy clubs, I assure you, we have a few comedy clubs in Nairobi, and our audiences are so diverse, and we are grateful for that, bro, because we get to play to a very diverse audience that
Oh,
sort of forces us to grow, so that I can visit a place. Because I remember I toured Cape Town for comedy last year, and I had quite a number of jokes that translated, word for word without changing a thing, that worked in Cape Town. And I was like, this is so dope. And I can only attribute that success to just how cosmopolitan Kenya is.
okay, okay. And what's that? I don't. What was your journey into like stand up? How did you get into it? And like, what made you like stand up is my thing? And what made you pick up the mic?
Well, I used to write really funny articles on my WordPress blog because I was broke, and WordPress is free. Well, it used to be free, not sure now. And just like any art form, it's sort of evolved, from written art form to spoken art form. Um, we had a stand-up comedy scene, one of the most successful, well-run, well-managed stand-up comedy scene, but it was mostly in vernacular, right? It was mostly in Swahili. And I was like, this is not my sound. I was consuming comedy. That was like the first time I got to interact with comedy was through that. It was on TV every week, bro, every week. But it never occurred to me that I could do that until I came across the English stand-up comedy scene in Nairobi. And I remember watching Mina Murumba, shout out, John Ribera and Brian Onjoro, um, who are my early influences into comedy. Doing English stand-up comedy in Nairobi, and I was like, oh, that's my sound. That's me. That's my thing. And I DM'd Brian Onjoro, who's the curator and the founder of the Nairobi Comedy Club. And I was like, yo, can I come do this? And he was like, yeah, you can sign up. Fast forward to 2018. I was 21. I was 21 when I started stand up. I went there with my friends. Remember, we were in an Uber in Nairobi going there, and my friends were like, yo, where are we going? I was like, oh, there's a comedy thing I'm going to perform. They're like, yo, since when do you perform comedy? I was like, this is my first time. So we went there. I signed. I was the only open mic. I was the only person who signed up on that day. So it was like the regular comedians on the roster, and myself. So Brian Onjoro comes up to me and says, hey, I'm going to do 20 minutes. I'm going to do 10 minutes up top, then bring you up. So I said,
Oh,
cool. I was the bullet, bro, after the host. So, so, so I see Brian Onjoro struggling. He's a killer jokes, tough room. Because he's the warm-up art, he's the host, he's trying to get them going. I go outside, my friend follows me, and I'm like, yo, this was a bad idea. Yo, that guy is struggling. Because that's not what they show on the YouTube clips.
yes, 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 yes.
Yo, on the YouTube clips, you see people dying. Like, I can do this. Yo, that was a tough room. So I go outside, I tell my boy, yeah, that was a bad idea. Next time I have an idea like that, punch me in the face. And he says, why don't you do your set? So I did my set, performed, for my boy. I was like, dude, I think you can hang in there. It's good enough to get you something. So I go
Okay.
back in. My boy is sitting right at the front. So my boy is supporting me. He recorded my first set. He's there. He's having so much fun. So the host goes on. He's on stage. He's trying to bring me up. He says, "The next comedian has never done comedy before. Please show him a lot of love." Brings me up. I got a few laughs. I didn't. I went okay. Then the comedians now, and after the show, the comedians are like, "Yo, we think you have something. Why don't you come for the open mics?" So they told me about the open mics, the dates of the week. Come through. You can grow this thing, and that's how I got into it.
Okay. Oh, all right. So straight in the deep end.
Yes, like now we are doing this. And I was so obsessed with putting my clips online. I remember my barely a month into it, I had uploaded a bit on my Instagram. Now I'm like, that was a dumb move. That was a dumb move. Yeah.
What happened?
It, I mean, it did well for that time, but now it's so cringe. It's like, what was I thinking? Yeah.
That what's the so it, I heard so I spoke to a comedian from Zambia, and we're going to do another interview later on in the week, but he said that in Africa the main comedy scenes are Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria, Botswana, and Ghana. He says that, and Kenya. He says that
Mhm.
those are the main places, and like what's made Kenya like such a big comedy hub in Africa?
Um, so we have a few comedy clubs in Nairobi. I wanna shout out one of the first, pioneers of stand-up comedy in Kenya. The longest serving comedy in Nairobi, comedy in Kenya, stand-up comedy as a culture has only been in existence for barely 12 years.
Oh, okay.
Right. So we got validated when we Churchill show, which is a stand-up comedy show, was got a TV deal, right? So I'm talking early 2000s. they got a TV deal. So it was, so it's like, so comics used to do their set. It didn't matter whether it was good enough. They were airing that your sets on TV every week, right? So remember, you don't even get time to workshop a joke. You, a joke you've been doing barely 2 weeks. It's like, all right, cut it. That's good enough. We've got the contract. We're getting paid. We have to give them something. So every week. So that, looking back, I mean, it's not good for the joke writing and the joke craft from like a joke craft perspective, but it gives people a lot of airplay, right, on TV, and people got to interact with comedy. It's like, oh, that's stand-up comedy. That's not sketch. That requires a live audience. It also forced the comedians to sort of write more because and be very technical with your writing because hey, I only got a week to make this joke work. Then the next week it's on TV, right? So comedians used to like really work on their jokes, write more, because it's a TV deal. The contract is done. We need content from you guys to put on TV at this particular time, at this particular date, every week without fail. So the locals, right? So Kenyans got to appreciate comedy. It was one of the most watched TV shows in Kenyan history. That was that, mostly in Swahili and Vanak, right? So fast forward to about 2014, right, when we had the first English comedy scene, stand-up comedy scene. Brian Onjoro had been doing stand-up comedy like a one-man industry in English alone, right? He founded the Nairobi Comedy Club. A few years later, Dag Mutai, who was a stand-up comedian in Canada, a Kenyan based, in Canada, started his stand-up in Canada, came back to Nairobi, opened Stand-Up Collective Nairobi, which is
Okay.
now the Nairobi Laugh Bar. Right. So Churchill, right? The first, comedy show that was on TV in Kenya, the most successful one, arguably, um, used to do this end of year event called Laugh Africa something. Not the South Africa has a similar one called Laugh Africa Fest, but it was something. So Laugh Africa something. So in Kenya, everywhere where he brought international comedians, right? He brought Basket Mouth from Nigeria. He brought Salvador from Uganda. He's brought Loiso Gola from South Africa. He's brought Celestin Tuli, Tumi Morake, Q Dube, from South Africa, Q Dube from Zimbabwe, right? So Churchill Show, shout out to Churchill Show. 2013 Nairobi Comedy Club was formed. Dag came back shortly after and founded the Stand-Up Collective Nairobi, which slowly became a weekly. It was a monthly show. They used to curate just one show every month, Then um, they slowly got a room. Slowly, got themselves, set up, with rooms across Nairobi. So they should run two open mics, two stand-up comedy open mics every week, right? Then Punchline Comedy Club Nairobi came, and so now in Nairobi, you can get on stage about uh 5 times every week, right? Starting so Mondays, and we have this thing in Kenya where we try to grow the scene. So every Monday we have comedy workshops, stand-up comedy workshops, where it's just comedians coming through, meeting, workshopping jokes, with one another, just driven, creating bits, building up bits, punching up bits for one another. So it's like a super intense classroom approach kind of style. Well, like we try to deconstruct stand-up comedy. It's like, all right, for the new comedians, like, all right, so this is what a tag is, this is what a setup is, a punchline is, this is how you do your timing, this is the mic technique, right? So every Monday, Punchline Comedy Club has their workshops every Monday. Uh, we also have one at the Nairobi Laugh Bar every Monday, right? So on Wednesday, we have an open mic at Punchline Comedy Club, Nairobi, and at the Nairobi Laugh Bar, which is a full-time comedy club. So on Thursday, open mic with Punchline, open mic with Stand-Up Collective. On Friday, open mic, stand-up collective. Saturdays, we have ticketed shows, paid shows by stand-up collectives without fail every Saturday. So yeah. I'm also, I also want to big up Stand Up Collective, which is also the curator of the Nairobi International Comedy Festival, where, we bring international acts every year. The Nairobi International Comedy Fest has seen comedians like Robbie Collins, you know, come to Nairobi, King Kandoro from Zimbabwe, uh, CSF from South Africa, Arthur Simeon, Arthur Simeon from Uganda and Canada, Daliso Chaponda.
Oh, okay.
Yes, he's performed at the Laugh Bar quite a lot. So yeah. Also, we had to attribute, the scene growing to quite a number of factors such as just the diversity of the people who consume comedy.
Okay. And what's ha- with the Kenyan scene itself? So it's 12 years old, and now would you say it's like it's quite well established that you got your main comedy clubs, your open mics, your middle, in between, and they're the top ones. And if you get on there, you get on TV, you get on social media. Is that where it's at now?
Yes, that is where it's at now. We've because we've had our some of our comedians, get shows with Showbox. We do roasts, the roast of, Showmax roast of, some of the celebrities in Nairobi. We're on Showmax, so we do that. We get, acting gigs. We get writing gigs for the Showmax, shows, because they look, they come to comedians, to form part of their writers' room. They're like, oh yeah, we are doing a roast of this. We need comedians. So comedians decide who then, gets to be part of the writer's room or partake in the roast themselves. So yeah, that is where it's at. TV is where it's at the moment, where we're getting gigs, acting gigs, adjacent, benefits, fails to comedy. So like writing gigs, roasts, stand-up comedy gigs on Showmax.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're doing very well with the streaming networks. Still waiting on Netflix. Netflix is like the only one not to embrace Kenyan stand-up comedy just yet. But Showmax, yeah.
Okay, I've heard that in regards to TV, a lot of it in regards to Africa has gone to South Africa. Is that true? Into,
Yes.
into, yeah.
This
Oh,
guy,
okay.
I feel like I cut you short. That is so
But
true. Everything goes to South Africa. South Africa got to be part of the Netflix. I'm sure you've seen this Comedians of the World.
I haven't. No, sorry. But I'll have a look. Sorry, man.
Yeah, so they have a section where it's like comedians of the world, and South Africa is included, which is
Okay.
dope. So South Africa is the only country in Africa that's included. Um, they also, I feel like there's also one stand-up comedy show called Only Jokes Allowed. That
Okay.
was launched in COVID, I think in lockdown 2020,
Okay.
where seven South African comedians got to do 15 minutes each for Netflix.
Okay. Okay. That's very interesting.
Mhm.
It's, and I've heard that is there quite a network in Africa for a lot of the comedy scenes? Are they quite closely connected? Like you could go to South Africa, you could go to Zambia, or you could go to Botswana quite easily. Is there quite a, or is
Mm,
it quite still quite in their own different? echo chambers or
Um,
whatever
I
you want to
I
call it.
think I think things are starting to open up now. Things are opening up now for the comics and for the scene. Because comedians know one another, right? So it only takes one comedian to, to our place and other comics to go, oh yeah, there's like a scene there. And I feel like I have to shout out African comedians because African comedians are super, super hospitable, super cool people. Because we know we are building this scene and we can't afford to get keep. We can't afford to get keep. We can't afford to hate on one another. So we're just building. In the process of building, we can't afford infighting. No, we are building now. So there's that. I think it only takes one comedian to go, yo, I want to tour this place. I'll give you an example of South Africa, right? There's a comedian of South Africa called Vafa Naragi. So he toured Nairobi for comedy. And he went back, was like, yo, there's a buzzing scene in Nairobi. Y'all, should check it out. And after Vafa, um, Robbie Collins has come, CSA has come. You feel me? So it's like, dude, you can go there and gigs. Kenyans are wonderful people. And it's the ripple effect, right? Because Wafa came to Nairobi, did the show, loved Nairobi, got the love. Then he booked me for a show in Cape Town. I went there, did a show there, came back, after I'd done a lot of shows, networked with the people in Cape Town. So now I tell them, yo, they come to Nairobi, told my people in Nairobi, that the Cape Town scene is beautiful. Y'all should go check it out. So there's that thing. It's I feel like we get to we can't afford infighting at the moment. Maybe we'll think about fighting one another when we are big.
Oh, okay. What, like, okay, fine. That's interesting to hear. Well, if you come to
Yeah.
if you stay in long enough in the UK and the USA, there's plenty of cliques and plenty of infighting. They've got so much infighting.
hmm What
No,
what about
but
the scene in London? I'm
no,
curious to know. Do
there
you
are
have
there are a
infighting?
lot of cliques. There is cliques, yeah. But in some respects, comedians are considering how competitive it can be and considering that there is infighting, you do get surprised at how supportive comics can be to each other as well, which is also quite it's mix and match. But yeah, it's funny to hear you say that because a lot of the times when I hear about comedy scenes, you always get the sense that there's always people that have ego clashes or here and there.
Mm,
But it's people, isn't it? When you're in a job
yeah.
or if you're in other things, there's going to be some people that don't like you, and there's going to be some people you don't like. It's the way it is.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's a white people thing. I think, no, I'm joking. I'm joking. No, no, African comedians, African comedy, seeing the African comedy community is super hospitable, super welcoming. It only takes you to DM, a person and go, yo, dude, I want to come through to your city, man. Put me on. And they're like, yo, say less, right? Yeah. Shout out to them.
One thing I've also found interesting about I'm trying to get a hold of a few African comics, and you guys put your number online. And the thing that's quite for WhatsApp, the thing that's quite funny, if a lot of big name comics did that, or even professional comics put their number online so accessible, they'll probably get trolled or some sort of dodgy things. So that's why they
Mm.
don't do it. But it was funny to see that in Africa and some other countries that you guys leave your number out there.
Yeah, no, we know all the scammers here, we know if you to get scammed, they're like, my guy, Oga from Nigeria, stop scamming me. No, I'm joking. Shout out to my Nigerian brothers. But yeah, I don't know. We are chill. Kenyan Africans are mostly really trusting people. We just, yeah. If you want to walk with me, walk with me. That's my number there. So no, because most of the artists in Africa we don't want to complicate things, especially comedians with like management or you talk to management. No, just reach out to the person
Oh,
themselves.
okay.
Go, yo, yeah, let's walk together.
But the managers help them get obviously bigger gigs and TV gigs, and they help push forward that. But in terms of like live booking gigs, that's interesting. Uh,
Yeah,
uh, how does it work with agents and all of that in like the African scenes? So they just get the bigger work, and you guys get all the live sort of shows.
Um, yes, we do have comedians who are represented, through, agencies and such. Um, so when's like an engagement that requires, the artist, they reach out and go, "Oh, hey, we have a gig for you. If you'll take it, take this." But for the most part, I think in Nairobi, wait, so I'm just trying to like get your question. Do you mean in terms of, do you mean like agencies procuring, getting jobs from brands, then subcontracting comedians to do, the shows, or comedians, getting the gigs directly themselves?
Um, I'm saying, yeah, I'm saying that you use the agencies to get the bigger brands, and for comedians getting their gigs themselves, they leave their number out there. But yeah, I just found it funny that I I don't think there's many comedians in the UK or America that leave their number online for people to contact them. I just found that interesting. It's not a common thing for comedians to leave their number out there.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, for the smaller, for smaller brands, smaller engagements, it's like, yo, let's do something really quick. That's my number. That's my email. Talk to me. Right. As for this big gigs like TV, type gigs, um, it has to come through agencies. Agencies get, contracted by, organizations. Then they come to the comedians and go, "Oh, yo, there's like a hosting gig for TV. Would you like to take it?" Yeah, that's how it works.
So that part's a bit similar. Like some of
Mhm.
the comedians, they book the live gigs themselves, but the agencies gets them the bigger work.
The big ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Okay, that's interesting. Who so for someone that doesn't know anything about the African like stand-up comedy in Kenya or Africa, who are comedians that you've seen live that you're like they are fucking amazing, and why? And what's a moment of comedy magic that you've seen on stage, and also comedy horror?
Hmm. Wait, for the horror, I rewatch my old sets. I'll tell you that. No. Yeah. So, like I told you, my early influences were just, local comedians, right? Which were amazing, by the way, right? Then I got to seeing, I got to watch American comedy, where I was like, oh, so this is comedy, right? This is the American way of doing comedy. It's funny, right? I used to know that's comedy until I did a gig with Ndumiso Lindi. Ndumiso Lindi is a legendary South African comedian. We Punchline Comedy Club curated a show called Distant Relatives, right? So Ndumiso Lindi was one of the headliners. I was doing a spot. Ndumiso Lindi from South Africa and Monroe Martin the third from America, killer comic in the New York scene. They came to Nairobi, and I got to see Ndumiso Lindi perform. And bro, I was like, that's comedy. That's comedy. That's the comedy I relate to. This guy is South African, is proudly African, and is so damn funny. That's comedy. So Ndumiso Lindi is probably what got me to start to go into this rabbit hole of just like watching South African comedy. And I was like, oh, Africans, man, we are so dope. We are so dope. So Ndumiso Lindi, shout out. Ndumiso Lindi. I watch a lot of, Kenyan and, South African comedians a lot. Robbie Collins, Loiso Gola, Tats Nkonzo, Loiso Mandinga, South African comics. Locally, we have Dag Mutai, amazing, amazing comedian. Maina Murumba, amazing writer. George Waweru, we're like, oh, this is comedy. This is, oh man, this is nice. So Ndumiso Lindi was where when every time I watch Ndumiso, I fall in love with comedy. I'm like, I want to be this.
What is it that makes him so good? Is it his stage presence, his voice? What is it? Or is it it's just you just have to see him to see his magic?
There's that, but also I think his relatability as an African.
Okay.
He's telling the same stories. Bruh, he's telling his stories from growing up as a black kid in South Africa. And we are relating to that in Kenya. And it's the little subtle nuances, the mannerisms, how we say things as Africans, how expressive we are, the sound effects, like the oh, it's like, yes, this is our sound. This is how we sound. So it's like super relatable and it has the presence and the excellent storytelling. I call it the African storytelling, where we can just like start with one thing, just tell stories. Storytelling is very big in African communities where, we used to sit around fires. Well, our grandparents used to sit around fireplaces and just like make stories. So, so bring that into comedy now, put your soul, add few stand-up comedy devices and techniques and make it a whole set. So yeah.
Okay. And what has been a horrifying thing that you've seen happen on stage? Because I've heard stories from comedians on stage. One where he got attacked for supporting gay rights in America. Then I had one where a guy got glassed by his girlfriend because she got heckled. Then one where a woman stripped. One where someone pissed into a bottle. But what's been like your horror? What's been a horror story that you've heard about or you've seen, and you're like, oh my god.
Um and there was we were doing a roast. We were doing a Showmax roast. It's on Showmax. And the roastee, the person we were roasting, poured water, a glass of water on one of the comedians.
Oh,
That was
okay.
crazy. Like, what? Like, yeah, you came so hard on me, bro. I had to do that. Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Yeah. I was like, what? Are we having a Chris Rock moment here?
Well, I think Will Smith has sort of pushed that forward a bit, in it that it's okay to attack or do things to comics, which is it isn't, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah. I think also Dave Chappelle, there's a guy that tried to tackle Dave Chappelle just like immediately after the Will Smith, Chris Rock saga. So I think, yeah, definitely that showed the people that it's perfectly okay to charge comedians on stage and tackle them.
Yeah, all sorts of crazy people, eh?
Hmm.
Now, what's what is it that brings you to the UK? What makes you want to come into the London scene and see what comedy's like over there?
Like, in Africa, sometimes I'd be on Twitter, I'd be on X, then I'll come across a particular piece of content and they're like, hey, this content is not available in your location. So I'm going to the UK to watch all the videos they said I couldn't watch in Africa. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm in Heathrow. Show me the videos now. Show me. I've got tons and tons of bookmarked content on Twitter. I am going to watch all of them. That's the reason I'm kind of no. Yeah, well, apart from that, I'll be performing at the Somali Week London,
Okay.
starting on the 17th of October, to the 25th, I think. Then I'm also super keen to tap into the local comedy scene in London and the UK in general. Uh, mm, I have a few shows set up. I'll be traveling to Manchester as well to link up with Evan from Creatures Comedy Club. He visited the
Ah,
Nairobi Comedy Club. Yeah, he visited the Nairobi Laugh Bar. and he had a blast here. He had a blast here. Shout out to Evan. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Okay, you want to see something different, and well, try the full English breakfast. Try fish and chips. Try pie and mash. What else is there that's interesting? Go to Pelici's.
Hmm.
Um, what else is there that's an interesting thing to do? Yeah, go to all the
I
main
am
clubs, of course.
go to the British National Museum to take back our artifacts. I'm going to take back the artifacts. You guys stole from. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that used to belong to my great grandfather. That spear is ours.
Please do
Taking
that
that
as your
back.
opening joke.
Ah, you wanted to get cancelled by white people. I see you. I see you. I see you,
Okay.
Marvin.
Well, as long as you're
Yeah,
making money, that's the main thing. I mean, in comedy, if you're making a good living out of it, where you don't have to do
yeah,
anything else, you're doing well in it.
yeah. I'm curious though, Marvin. Yeah, what's like? What are the financial situation of comedians of comics in the UK scene? Right? Do they make good for themselves? Do they do well for themselves? Can you do that for a living, like full time?
Um, you scrape through. Even a lot of most of them make their living through corporates. The club circuit doesn't really pay much at all. And I think if you hear that from Evan as well, the club circuit does. Oh, up north actually, and maybe in Scotland and the Midlands, they pay a bit more. But in London, the pay is very poor, incredibly poor. Um, but I think most people get their money through corporates. That's they get loads of money through there, but the club circuit doesn't really pay that much. So
Mhm.
the money's shit. But mostly, and if you've got a big social media following, you make a lot of money through touring. So I'd say
Right,
that's where it is. Um,
right. How
I
many?
know
How
that
many? Uh-huh. Please go on. I'm sorry.
in yeah in yeah I think in I've heard that some people that I know in Saudi Arabia or the United Arab Emirates are getting paid handsomely, but yeah in the UK, yeah, unless you're a headliner or you're doing a lot of corporates or have a huge social media following, famous, the pay's shit.
Not what I wanted to hear, man. Shout out to you for busting my bubble. Yeah. But in terms of a joke craft and like a comedy perspective, right? You guys have a pretty well established and well defined scene, right? Like you can how many spots can you do in one night in London?
Well, they got a lot of bringer gigs now. So
Mm.
it used to be you could easily do 7 a week, but I'm not. I mean, I know a few people, so I can sometimes get in without a bringer. But for the most part, you could probably do if you're just any old comic, or if you're a pro comic.
Pro comic.
A pro comic. But there's more. There's too many comedians in the UK at the moment, especially in London,
Right.
so it's hard to
Hmm.
get spots. But if you're pro comic and you're in with the right cliques, probably you could get around 7 nights a week. But yeah, but you still need to gig up and down the country because the pay is terrible. I know up north they pay way more than down here.
Hmm.
What about Kenya?
Dude, same thing, bro. Like corporates pay a lot of money. Um, I was talking to, it's crazy. Comedians, we tend to lead the same lives, despite, where we come from, UK, South Africa. There's a South African-based comedian, he's Zimbabwean, came to Nairobi recently. And I was telling him, yo, it's so dope because we met and we did a gig together in Cape Town. I was like, oh yeah, it's so dope to have you in our city. And the guy told me, oh yeah, I did a corporate gig. Yeah, the money was good. Saved up, decided, you know what, I'm hitting Kenya. So same thing. Corporate gigs pay better. You have to, the pay is shit. Pay is really shit. You have to do other gigs, man. So we have comedians who do other things. We have comedians who do other things. uh, other day jobs and comedy at night. So yeah.
OnlyFans.
Ye-
So,
I wish.
so
I'm gonna search you on I'm gonna search you on OnlyFans. I'm gonna look you up, Marvin McCarthy. See what you're
that's
selling.
how I get my money. But I did hear that someone got a lot of views through Pornhub through comedy. I don't know, but yeah, it is what it is in comedy, isn't it? And
Yeah, do
podcasting
what you
as
gotta
well. And
do.
podcasting with
Yes,
Patreons.
podcasting. Yeah, yeah, Patreons. Yeah, podcasting is a big thing here. So even in Nairobi, we have podcasters, we have sketch comedians who got famous, then decided to to pursue stand-up. So they're coming with their communities now, right? So it's easier for them to sell tickets because of the communities they've built on the other endeavors.
Yeah, that's the biggest change. When people are like, if they have a big social media following or they're famous, like, yeah, that's the thing. And the same with musicians in a way, isn't it? They have a lot of people listen to their music, buy records, but they don't make any money through that. It's all through the tours. It's touring that
Yes,
really, really helps people out now.
right. We're having famous people get gigs because they have the numbers. Bro, Pete Davidson has a special on Netflix. What are we doing?
I mean, I heard he started from when he was 14, and I got a friend of mine in New York who calls him his homie, Nico White. He started at 14 as well. He's been doing it a while. He may look maybe not that good on there, but I think if you see him live, it's a different story. Like Louis C.K.
Oof.
Um,
Mm,
I'm not. When I saw some videos of him online, I didn't think too much. But when you see him live, it is he's probably the best
electric.
comedian I've seen. The best comedian I've
Lu-
seen. I saw
who?
him at the
Louis
Apollo.
C.K.?
Yeah,
Louis
he's
C.K.?
the best comedian I've
Oh,
seen. You keep him away from your mum, or you keep him away from your sister. But like, if he jerks off, no worries, mate. I'll get out the other room. You enjoy yourself. If I was in a green room with Louis C.K., like, you celebrate yourself with your sticky hands. I regret
yeah.
shaking your hand, but like, I'll go in the other room. But yeah, he's a
Dude,
brilliant comedian. He's a pervert in the bush, but he is an absolutely brilliant comedian.
yeah. He's a brilliant comedian. Yeah, he's an absolute best. He's the absolute best. Shout out to Louis
Yeah.
C.K. before the allegations. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you have Louis C.K. in the same room as your mum or your daughter or your sister?
No. Hell no. 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 What? No. Why are we considering this? Why are we even contemplating? No, we're not. I would never do that. But
But he would say, "Oh,
his
you get a spot. You get a spot." I'm joking.
I would let him jizz on my face if he gets me a spot. Like, yes, that's how like no, dude, just do your things, put me on. Yeah, I'm gonna
Right. But you can't. Yeah. He's a brilliant comedian. You can't take that away from him. And I know that a lot of
right.
people are having. If it gets me into trouble for saying it, I'll say it anyway. But I think a lot of comedians, if they're in a position as a lot of famous comedians are, to go to Saudi Arabia and get the money they're being paid, you can say what you want about them, but the money they're being paid, if you're in the same position as them, I think a lot of comedians, considering how little comedians get paid for the most part, would take someone's arm off to get the money they get those big named comedians being paid, if they're being honest.
Yeah, dude, without a doubt. I would sell out my community if it means getting that money.
Yeah, that minute money will
Yeah.
set you for life.
Yes. Yes. Comedians, you have to separate the comedian from the person. It's like I love the art. We should separate the art from the people, because people are so unpredictable. People will always be selfish, looking out for themselves. It's like, yes, he did that. The person in them did that. But like, why don't we focus on the art, right? The art is, I love the art, don't love the person. unless we're talking about R. Kelly. I love the pastor and his music is shit. I love his personality, not his
I,
music.
I don't like both. Yeah, and but it is one thing that is definitely true. If like P Diddy as well, he's from what I hear from other people and the things that he's been accused of, like I heard that his crime is getting 5 years or something like that. I If you have money, you can get away with things to a certain degree. Like Joey
Right.
Barton is a famous Premier League footballer, and like he's spat at a fan. He went and knocked a teammate unconscious. He went and put a firework in a fan's eye, and he's never. I don't think he's ever been put in prison or he's been arrested. But that's
That's
because he's a Premier
crazy.
League footballer. He has a lot of money. He knows the lawyers that can get you out of it. It does some. If you have power and money, you do seem
Mm.
to be able to find a way to get away with certain things.
We should get the power and money then,
Yes,
and
I will.
get away with some of the things we want to do. Some of us, bruh, the only thing holding us back is the power and money, my guy.
What
Just waiting
they
for me to get the power and money, for me to be my true self. Can't wait.
I'm scared.
Should be. Should
I'm
be.
sorry, man. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. now, now, to anyone that's listening in right now,
Mm.
no, let's not end up on that. So, what was a piece of so from all the journeys you've had in comedy and for all the things that have happened, what is a bit of advice you'd like to give to any comedians that are listening now? And how do people find out about you?
Um, I I want to share what Robbie Collins told me when, because Robbie Collins is my comedy idol and is a personal friend. I got to hang out with him multiple times. They told me, yo, like, the more you grow off stage is the more you grow on stage, right? So seek out these experiences, go out with friends, get into fights. Don't do anything crazy, but live life essentially. Live life, love, find people, do your own life, do your thing. Seek out these experiences and find a way of speaking your truth on stage, right? The more you grow off stage is the more you grow on stage. Um, and yeah, just keep stacking shows, keep stacking shows. There's no one show that's gonna make you. It's never just one show. It's never just one big break. It's like, no, it's the compounding effect, all the small, reps, the small, gigs you do week in, week out. It's gonna get you that big break. So there's no one gig that's gonna set you up for life. No, no. Uh, Trust the process. And I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan. Trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process. Um, pay your dues, man. Pay your dues, and I wish you all the best.
Okay. And how do people find out about you?
They can find me on social media. So at Adan_comedian on all platforms. On all platforms, Adan_comedian on all platforms.
Okay. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Make sure if you've enjoyed it, you tell everyone. But if you haven't, keep it to yourself. Uh, make sure you give this episode a 5-star review on Amazon or iTunes or Spotify. And also, if you can, donate to the Patreon. Uh, I'll see you guys next week. Tomorrow, I'm interviewing a friend of mine on the London circuit who is a taxi driver called Trevor Bickles, and he's a comedian. So we're going to talk to him tomorrow. I'm talking to a comedian, not Zimbabwe, Zambia on Thursday. I got a musical comedian the week after, and I've got who else have I got? I got a former policeman and comedian the week
Wow.
after that. And yeah, the I hope you guys have a great week, and I'll see you soon.